He had the perfect life, the perfect family. But some reputations die hard, and the family he left behind would not forget.
What happens when a man tries to leave behind a life of crime only to be hunted down and shot 22 times and still survive? Today, we're diving into the gritty, emotional, and bullet-riddled world of 22 Bullets, a French crime thriller that mixes revenge, redemption, and raw justice, starring the legendary Jean Reno. This isn't your average gangster flick. This is a story of a man forced to face his past, no matter how hard he tried to bury it. If you're into intense storytelling, unforgettable characters, and the kind of action that hits hard, stick around. Let's break down the story, the themes, and why 22 Bullets might just be one of the most underrated revenge films out there. Let's start listening to the story. In the opening scene, Charlie Smith and his son Natalie say goodbye to Charlie's mother after a visit. Charlie, a retired mafia boss, now leads a quiet life with his wife and children. Only Natalie accompanies him on this trip, and the two enjoy time together listening to classical music on the way back, showing Charlie's affection for his children. When they arrive in the city, Natalie leaves the car to see a man doing tricks with his goat, while Charlie drives to an underground parking lot. There, he parks and relaxes listening to music, but when he gets out of the car, a group of 8 murderers start shooting at Charlie, shooting 22 shots. They still kill his dog before running away, leaving Charlie seriously injured and on the brink of death. Miraculously, Charlie regains consciousness while Natalie waits for him on the upper floor. Not knowing what happened, lying there, he remembers the time he spent in prison with Pavano, a mafia leader, who taught him everything about life in the underworld, including the importance of always being alert. Charlie is taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, his longtime friend and successor, Tony Zacchia, is worried about knowing about the attack. The news of the attack against Charlie, one of the mafia's last godfathers, spreads quickly. Detective Marie Goldman arrives at the crime scene to investigate, still with the case in progress. While the surgeons work to remove the projects from Charlie's body, he remembers Pavano's murder, committed by his rival Hernandez, who still had the audacity to appear at the funeral. A young Charlie, along with Tony and another friend, Orello, planned to avenge Pavano. They ambushed Hernandez and his gang, with Tony driving while Charlie executed Hernandez in a brutal way. In the next scene, Charlie's second wife and Natalie's mother arrive at the hospital with Charlie's daughter, Eva, to visit him while he recovers. Meanwhile, Marie tries to convince her boss to proceed with the investigation, but he believes that Charlie is just a gangster and doesn't deserve attention. Reluctant, he allows Marie to question Charlie, although she doubts she can get something out of him. Marie and another cop go to Charlie's room, but he only faces her in silence. He warns that the attackers can come back to finish the job, and asks for his help. Charlie, however, brings the flame closer and says, "Just no." Charlie's lawyer interrupts the conversation, asking them to leave, while 2 former partners of Charlie enter the room. Later, Marie returns home and talks to her son, who asks about his father's death, a former cop. The question shatters, but she assures her son that his father is in a better place, taking care of them. Although tears run down his face outside the hospital, Charlie's lawyer, Marty, and the former cop, Kareem, discuss what to do. Kareem wants to attack the culprits, but Marty reminds him that he still doesn't know who the culprits are. Kareem gives in, but warns Marty not to get away from Charlie. Meanwhile, a doctor disguised as a killer invades the hospital. He enters Charlie's room and shoots, but Charlie's assistant, Patty, had already transferred the patient to another room. The killer ends up killing an innocent patient. Meanwhile, Marie installs surveillance equipment in the hospital. The next day, Tony arrives with his team, bringing flowers and chocolates for Charlie. He enters the room, relieved to see that his friend is better, and promises to find out that he was responsible for the attack. The doctor explains to Marie that Charlie is reluctant to take exams for fear that they will remove something from him. When he refuses to leave the room to make an X-ray, he discovers that Charlie hides a gun under the mattress. At this moment, Marty appears with his sick wife and his daughter, Eva, playing loud music on the top floor. He enters her room and asks her to turn down the volume, but Eva is crying in her bed, and Marty tries to comfort her, asking her not to cry. However, Eva is devastated, believing that her father lied about being a member of the mafia and that he doesn't care about her or his mother. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Charly cuts his hand with a fork, showing his insensitivity to pain. The doctor warns that if the damaged nerve is cut, he will lose the use of his right arm. His mother visits him and says that God saved his life so that he could change, making him promise that she will die before him. Marie and her partner continue to investigate an attack on Charly and begin to suspect a criminal arrested named Pistachio. She confronts him, accusing him of planning the attack, but Pistachio denies any involvement and refuses to speak. Meanwhile, Kareem discovers a Bangladeshi man in the attack and warns Charly along with Martin. The three leave the hospital in a car, but Marie and her team begin to follow them. Realizing this, Kareem asks for help, and another car blocks Marie's path, allowing them to escape. They arrive at the warehouse, where Patton sees a target and sets his feet on concrete. The man named Frederick is an associate of Tony. Under the effect of substances and lists, Frederick reveals that Tony was involved in the attack, along with 7 other individuals. Charly discovers that Tony, fearing his reaction after selling his business, decided to attack him first. Despite the anger, Charly orders Kareem not to do anything and lets Frederick go, believing he would inform Tony. Charly returns home and meets his wife and children. Marie appears, but does not interfere. Meanwhile, Kareem returns home and has dinner with the family. When leaving, a black van approaches and he is kidnapped. Kareem is taken to an isolated place where he is brutally beaten. Frederick betrayed him and the attackers executed him, leaving a message for Charly before killing him. The next day, Charly's wife receives an order containing a mutilated part of Kareem. During the funeral, Charly observes the suffering of Kareem's friends and family, especially his father. Determined to act, Charly takes precautions. While Tony's men celebrate, Charly surprises him with a grenade and a gun. He forces them to hand over their weapons and makes it clear that he will not kill them at that moment, but that he wants them to live in fear, waiting for his return at any time. He recognizes Bastien, one of the shooters, and executes him right there. 6 months later, Eva, tired of living hidden with her stepmother, decides to return home to stay with her sick mother. Patty tries to convince her about the danger, but Eva's grandmother's arrival reassures her. Meanwhile, Charly continues with his revenge, killing Bastien's friend, who was putting flowers in his grave. A few days later, Mary meets Tony, but the man plants the tracker in her car. During the conversation, Tureen admits suspecting Charly, but lies, saying he was always envious. He suggests that he and Mary join forces and become allies, but Mary refuses to collaborate with the criminal. Tony's men invade Martin's apartment, destroying everything and leaving an explosion behind. When Martin arrives and sees the mess, he runs away. One of the hoodlums chases him and warns the gang. Martin goes to Tony's refuge on the beach, despite Charly's warning that he may be dangerous. Charly gives Martin a gun and tells him to run away by boat. Meanwhile, Charly confronts Tony's men in an exchange of shots. Martin arrives on the boat, but the men drop the caramels that surround Martin. The hoodlums destroy Charly's house, but he escapes by motorcycle. They chase him and open fire, but Charly manages to stay ahead. The chase takes them to the city, where Charly strategically hits a police car to save himself from the pursuers. After that, Tony confronts Martin, threatening to forget the old friendship if he doesn't turn Charly in. Mary captures Charly and accuses him of killing Tony's men and threatening other people. Charly replies that he can't use his arm. Mary then reveals that on the day of the attack, one of the 8 assailants did not try to kill him on purpose and deliberately missed the shot. Charly, however, ignores this information. Despite his doubts, Mary is forced to release Charly. A few days later, Charly kills one of the 8 assailants while strolling in the park with his elderly mother. Later, he finds Frank, another of the 8, strolling with his dogs. Charly shoots Frank's foot when he refuses to give information and then shoots the other foot. Frank begs for an ambulance, but Charly demands to know who was the 8th assailant in the parking lot. Meanwhile, Tony, who was at the wedding, discovers Frank's disappearance and sends his men to find him. Frank, in turn, says he doesn't know who the 8th man was because he never saw his face, but Charly doesn't believe him. Desperate, Frank begs not to be killed and offers information about Tony. He accesses the mafia's computers and shows Charly all the transactions and contacts of Tony's black market. Meanwhile, one of Tony's men arrives at the location, and when he sees Frank's van empty, he takes out his gun. The dogs start barking, warning Charlie. The two exchange shots, but Charlie manages to hit the attacker. He grabs the pen drive and goes looking for Frank. From the outside, the wounded calls Tony, who gathers his men to act. Frank begs again for Charlie not to shoot, saying he has a daughter, and showing the toy that, according to him, belongs to her. However, Charlie discovers illicit substances hidden in the toy. Frank asks for forgiveness, but Charlie kills him with 2 shots. Tony arrives at the location, furious for having lost Charlie once again, and orders his gang to find Charlie and eliminate his entire family. Meanwhile, one of Tony's men, who is also the fiancé, is driving home when he finds a car blocking the road. He goes out to solve the situation, but is hit by 2 quick shots. Mary, investigating the case, analyzes the gun and finds Charlie's fingerprint. Charlie meets Martin in a bar known and frequented by police. He knows that Tony is trying to incriminate him to divert the police's attention. Charlie hands Martin the pen drive, asking him to make a copy and deliver a version to Aurelio. Mary is arguing with her supervisor, questioning if Charlie was really responsible for the recent crime. However, the captain only wants Charlie to be arrested and asks Mary to prepare a prison sentence. When she discovers that Charlie has a son who goes to school, she is alone and drinking in her car, trusting that, if they find the boy, they will also find Charlie. The next day, Patty catches a Natalie at school, knowing that Mary and her partner are following him. Then, Patty goes after Eva, but soon a red car intercepts them. Suddenly, a van appears, and the men start shooting, killing Patty instantly. Mary and her partner try to confront the attackers, but their guns are more powerful, and the criminals capture Natalie and Eva. A few hours later, the police manage to rescue Eva, but Natalie remains in the power of the criminals. She warns that, if Charlie doesn't turn himself in, the men will kill Natalie. Mary returns to her car, and Charlie arrives. He tells her that Tony killed her husband, and if she doesn't help, he will also kill Natalie. Charlie wants her to reveal the place where he is hiding, so that Tony leaves the guard, and they can rescue Natalie. Mary is skeptical, but Charlie offers to turn himself into the police later. She accepts, recognizing Charlie's courage. Tony finds out about Natalie's capture, and tells his men to take care of him. One of the men thinks they went too far, but Tony is resolute, and orders Orlia's execution. Charlie notices Pascal leaving Tony's apartment, and starts chasing him. He arrives at an isolated building, surrounded by fences, and invades the place. He fights against the wires to reach his son, while Pascal instructs one of his subordinates to kill Natalie. However, the young man finds it cruel. Pascal threatens him with a knife, but when he turns around, the man hits him on the head with a stick and runs away. The man tries to rescue Natalie, but Pascal recovers quickly and stabs them, killing them at the same time. Pascal then catches Natalie and takes him to his car. Charlie sees all this and jumps on Pascal's car, making him hit him. Pascal gets out of the car and draws a knife, starting to cut Charlie's right arm. However, Charlie manages to regroup, catches Pascal, and knocks him down before breaking his neck. Charlie takes Natalie out of the car, and the two hug each other, crying. Tony's men lost their lives in the invasion of Orlia's house, which is in critical condition. The detective managed to recover a pen drive from Orlia's case. Tony, alone at home, feels a bad feeling, and decides to go looking for his family. Charlie is there to ambush him, and keep him on his tail. The two discuss the paths they took in life, and Tony gets angry with Charlie for having abandoned everything in search of a peaceful life, as if he was superior to the others. Tony tells Charlie to act, but he hesitates in trying to kill his old friend. Immediately, Tony turns the situation and points a gun at Charlie. He hits Charlie and tells him to beg for his life. When Charlie refuses, Tony throws hot water on his head. Before he can shoot, the police enter the building, pointing guns at the two and arrest them. Martin arrives to get Charlie after his release from the police station. Charlie then asks Martin to take him to a specific place. He arrives at a parking lot where Charlie was attacked. Charlie then confesses that he knew that Martin was his 8th victim. Martin hesitantly admits that Tony forced him to accompany the men, and that he didn't know that Charlie was the target. He assures Charlie that he didn't shoot him, and begs for his life. Charlie then doesn't kill him, and shoots next to him, warning that now they are in trouble. The moral of the movie, 20 to Bullet's original French title, Immortal centers around revenge, justice, and the cost of violence. Number 1. Revenge has a cost, while Charlie seeks vengeance. The film questions whether revenge can truly bring peace or only continue the cycle of violence. Number 2. Trying to escape your past isn't easy. No matter how much Charlie wants a quiet life, his past actions eventually catch up to him. Number 3. Family and redemption matter at the heart of it all. Charlie wants to live a better life for his family, and his journey is as much about redemption as it is about justice. It's a gritty story that blurs the line between hero and anti-hero, showing that even people with dark pasts can try to do the right thing. I am staying here, and see you next time.